Hello, beautiful people of the internet. How are you doing today? My name is Jackie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be playing a game of Would You Rather, but with historical mystery books. This video is inspired by a tag originally created by Art Bookshelf Odyssey for cozy mysteries. Now, I'm not a cozy mystery reader, cozy mystery as in the publishing subgenre definition, but I do love historical mysteries. So here's how this is going to work. I have 10 questions that I am going to answer today. I created a spinner wheel on my computer with the titles of the last 20 historical mystery books that I have read. For each question, I will spin the wheel to get 2 different titles, and I will have to answer the question about, which of the titles I would rather fulfill the prompt. I don't know if I explained that well, but I think it'll make sense once we get started. So the 20 titles I have on this wheel are Last Call at the Nightingale by Catherine Shellman, North by Northanger by Carrie Bebris, A Study in Scarlet Women by Sherry Thomas, Murder in Old Bombay by Neve March, The Murder Wheel by Tom Mead, The Starlit Letter, The Service of the Dead by Candace Robb, An Impossible Imposter by Deanna Raybourn, Murder on Black Swan Lane, The Hanover Square Affair, An Unexpected Peril, The Scottish Ladies Detective Agency, Suspense and Sensibility, The Poisoner's Ring, The Murder of Mr. Wickham, The Widows of Malabar Hill, The Fleet Street Murders, Dissolution, Death Comes to Bath, and The September Society. So let's go to the first question and the first spin. All right, the first question is, which historical would you pick to make into a movie? Let's spin the wheel to get our 2 choices. First, oh, An Impossible Imposter. So the latest Veronica Speedwell book. Oh, I would love to see that be made into a movie. Let's see what it's up against. And then we have The Widows of Malabar Hill by Sujata Massey. Okay, that would make a good movie too. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna go with I would want the Veronica Speedwell books to be a movie. This is the first historical mystery series I really loved, and I feel like just the tone of this book would lend itself to a visual medium really well. This is a part of a series set in Victorian London, and Veronica Speedwell, our main character, is just the most headstrong heroine, and she and her colleague, later turned lover, Stoker, get into so many antics. I think this would make a really fun movie or TV series, and I would love to see it, honestly. So I'm gonna go with that one for this question. But The Widows of Malabar Hill would make a great film too, I think. It would just be a very different tone, more serious, The next question is, which historical would you use to build a fire in an emergency? Oh God. I hope I get one of the books that I didn't really like for this question. Let's spin and see what we get. Oh, boo. We got An Unexpected Peril, another Veronica Speedwell book. Oh, great. Okay. And the other choice is... oh my God. Ugh. The Poisoner's Ring by Kelly Armstrong, the latest Rip Through Time novel. Why, fate, couldn't you have been nice to me and given me one of the books on this list I did not really care for to choose from? That's very mean of you. I don't know about this one. I mean, The Poisoner's Ring I did have issues with because I really do not like the main character in those books that much, but I really love the side characters. And then An Unexpected Unexpected Peril, I really loved the Veronica Speedwell books. They started me with my love for historical mysteries. But the latest books in the series have not been my favorites. So part of me wants to say I would burn that one if I needed kindling in an emergency. But honestly, I wish I didn't have to burn either of them. I wish that the spinner wheel could have given me one of the books on this list that I did not like that much. But it's decided to be mean to me today. So, tentatively, I'll say that I'll burn Unexpected Peril to vent my frustrations with it, but I'm not happy about it. The third question is, which historical would you read again in one weekend? So let's spin to see. Choice number 1 is North by Northanger, which I literally just read. So I don't know if I would want to reread that one in one weekend, but it would be pretty easy to read. So let's see what my other choice is. No. Dissolution, the first Matthew Shardlake mystery. Yeah, no, I'm gonna reread North by Northanger. That's one of the Mr. and Mrs. Darcy murder mysteries, and it's a lot shorter than Dissolution, easier to get through. So if I had to read one in one weekend, 100% I am going with the North by Northanger. A much lighter, easier read. 100% I could read that book in one weekend. I don't know if I would want to reread Dissolution in one weekend. It's a bit thicker and not as light tonally. It's a much darker book. I don't know if I need to read that in one weekend. That would be a lot. So I think North by Northanger, even though I didn't really love that book, it would be a lot easier on me. So I would take that one out of the two. The next question is, which historical would you choose to move to the town where it takes place? And depending on what I get, I might have to respin because there are multiple books on this list that take place in London, which is, the same city. So let's see what I get for this. First, okay, great. I got The Service of the Dead by Candace Robb, which takes place in New York. And now my other choice is going to be... Last Call at the Nightingale, which takes place in New York City. So York or New York? Those are my choices. Ooh, interesting. Okay, I didn't even get a London one. Had I ended up getting a London set historical, I probably would have chosen that one because I do have a lot of fantasies about living in London. It's probably my favorite city that I've ever been to. Now I have a choice between York, England, or New York, New York. And I've been to York. I loved York. But part of me wants to go with Last Call at the Nightingale for this one and say I would rather live in New York City, especially if my choice, also requires me to live in the time period the book is set, because The Service of the Dead is set in medieval times in New York. And I do not want to be a woman living in a medieval society because, suffice to say, it was not a great time for feminism. At least with Last Call at the Nightingale, obviously it was still, a time with a lot of societal inequalities, but Last Call at the Nightingale is set in the 1920s, and I would love to dress like a flapper and drink champagne and get up to the shenanigans that Vivian gets to in this book, dance and flirt, and, I think that would be a little more fun than being a woman trying to survive in medieval times, It's a little bit heavier then, so I think I would take my chances with Last Call at the Nightingale. The next question is, which would you pick to never read another in the series? And again, I'm hoping we can land on one of the books here that I did not particularly care for to make it easier on myself, but let's just see what we get. Okay, I got The Murder Wheel by Tom Mead, all right, and that is going to go up against The Hanover Square Affair. All right, this is interesting because these are both historicals where I'm not sure if I will read more from the series. So it's just gonna have to be me thinking about which one do I think I'm more likely to continue reading. I liked both of these, did not love them. I think though, if I had to choose one to never read the series again, I would choose The Murder Wheel. No offense to the author, this was a good book, but I did not absolutely love it. And so I feel like, I could give up on this series. And again, I'm not sure if I'm going to continue reading the Hanover Square Affair series either, but I think I'm a little more likely to continue that one than The Murder Wheel. The Hanover Square Affair is set in the Regency era. It's one of my favorite historical time periods. It's the era that I chose to set my historical mystery manuscript, and I am interested to see how that series could potentially continue. Again, didn't love it, but I think I'm more likely to continue that series than the series The Murder Wheel is in, so that's going to be my answer for this question. The next question is, which historical would you choose to eat every food mentioned in the story? All right, again, hopefully I get ones where I actually remember them having descriptions of food, but let's see. Suspense and Sensibility. Does that book even mention food in it? I'm not sure that it does, but let's try for the next one. All right, let's see what we get. Oh, okay. A Study in Scarlet Women. Yeah, I'm going to choose A Study in Scarlet Women for this one because I do remember in this book there are definitely descriptions of food because Charlotte Holmes is a plus-sized main character, and there are multiple scenes talking about the food that she eats and her healthy appetite. It was something I liked about the book because I also have a healthy appetite and could very easily polish off a plate of tea cakes put in front of me. So yeah, this book definitely has descriptions of food. There's descriptions of, sandwiches and desserts. There's a scene where Charlotte and Joan are at a tea shop together, and it's mentioning the tea and the food they're having, strawberries and cream, things like that. So definitely I would choose to eat the foods mentioned in this book. I don't even remember if Suspense and Sensibility mentions food at all, to be honest. So an easy choice for this one. I, like Charlotte, enjoy a good meal, and when food's in front of me, I eat it. So that's my answer for that question. The next question is, which historical would you choose to take on a 2-week vacation as your only book? So let's see what we get for this one. Okay, The Murder of Mr. Wickham, which I did not love. And the other choice is going to be... No. Death Comes to Bath, which I also did not love. Great. So I'm not super happy with my choices for this one, because both of these books were, I think, 3 stars for me. Death Comes to Bath was cute. I think the mystery itself was not my favorite, and the murder of Mr. Wickham was very disappointing. I did not like how the author chose to write some of Jane Austen's characters. Basically, this book is sort of a murder mystery Jane Austen fan fiction where all of the main couples from Jane Austen's novels are attending a party held by Emma and Mr. Knightley at their estate. Mr. Wickham from Pride and Prejudice shows up uninvited, and he obviously turns up murdered, as the title suggests. So there are no shortage of suspects. And what I didn't like about this book was that I really hated the way some of Jane Austen's characters were portrayed, Edmund and Fanny from Mansfield Park specifically, and I felt like the ending was not foreshadowed well. But I might choose to take on a 2-week vacation over Death Comes to Bath because, one, I think it's longer, so I would get like, you know, I would be able to stretch it out a little more and make the most of it for my vacation. So I feel like I would choose that one. I mean, I do think like I have less negative feelings about Death Comes to Bath, but it is very short, very easy to read, and I feel like if I brought it on a 2-week vacation as my only book, I would quickly run out of reading material. So I'm gonna go with The Murder of Mr. Wickham for this one, begrudgingly. Oh, the next question is, which historical would you recommend to someone who has never read a historical before? So let me spin. If I get both the September Society and the Fleet Street Murders, I'm going to have to respin because they're part of the same series. So, all right. Murder in Old Bombay, that's choice 1. And let's get choice 2. Murder on Black Swan Lane. The first Rexford and Sloane mystery. Okay, I have conflicting thoughts about this. So these are both first books in a series, which is great. Obviously, you want to start somebody off with the first book in a series. I kind of have conflicting feelings about which one I would be more likely to recommend to a first-time reader. I personally liked Murder in Old Bombay more than Murder on Black Swan Lane. So part of me wants to recommend that one. The caveat is Murder in Old Bombay is rather long. And I feel like there are subplots that sort of like derail the mystery a little bit. So if you are looking for a historical mystery, I think this book emphasizes the historical a little more than it emphasizes the mystery. Murder on Black Swan Lane was a bit disappointing for me. However, it is very hyped. I know a lot of people love this series. And the reason I think it might be a better recommendation for a first-time reader is I feel like Murder on Black Swan Lane is a little bit more of a conventional historical mystery format than Murder in Old Bombay. You know, Murder on Black Swan Lane hits this sort of classic historical mystery dynamic. So I think this might give you a better idea of what to expect from historical mysteries than Murder in Old Bombay. It's also shorter, so I feel like this might be the better beginner recommendation, but personally, I liked Murder in Old Bombay better than Murder on Black Swan Lane. So I think that's going to be my answer with those caveats. The next question is, which one would you pick to dress and act like the main character? And spinner wheel, you cannot give me both the September Society and the Fleet Street Murders because it's the same series, it's the same main character. So I'm probably going to have to respin because we need to get one of those this round. All right, the Fleet Street Murders, which is one of the Charles Finch mysteries. Not No, the Charles Lennox Mysteries by Charles Finch. I said that wrong, sorry. And now for this spin, we gotta get something other than the September Society. Otherwise, I can't answer the question. If I get the September Society, I'm respinning. Okay, perfect. Yes, all right, the Scottish Ladies Detective Agency. All right, yes, that worked out. Now, the Fleet Street Murders is part of the Charles Lennox series, which is a series set in Victorian London. And Charles Lennox fits that gentleman sleuth archetype. He is from an aristocratic family, and honestly, his lifestyle would not be that bad to have. You know, he is a man of means. He is a huge reader, like I am. He enjoys planning vacations. I like planning vacations, though unlike me, Charles never seems to actually go on said vacations that he plans. I do feel like I would rather act like the main character from the Scottish Ladies Detective Agency, because she just seems like she has fun, you know? She has set out on her own a little bit, so in some aspects, her life is not quite as glamorous, but I would love to live in Edinburgh, and the main character still has her former lady's maid turned assistant of sorts, Daisy, so it's not like she's poor by any means. You know, she still has a lot of fun. She goes on her adventures. She has, you know, a potential romantic interest, and I think it would be kind of fun to be her and to get up to some antics in Edwardian era Scotland, so I'm gonna go with that for this question. And now, of course, there are only two choices left for the last question, the Starlit Letter and the September Society. The final question is, which would you pick to read the next three in the series back to back? Well, first of all, the Starlit Letter is a debut, so there are not three more books in the series, but let's just pretend that there were for the sake of this question. I still think I would go with the September Society, which is another Charles Lennox mystery. There are many books in the series that I still have to read, and I think I would rather binge read that series, because what I like about this series is that the books are very easy to read, and while they don't all absolutely blow me away, so far all of the books in the series have been fun. I think if I had to read three books back to back, the Charles Lennox books would not be a bad choice. I think I would be able to get through them fairly quickly, and also I need to get caught up on this series. There's like pushing 20 books, so honestly, might not be a bad idea to read three back to back. It would help me get a little bit more caught up. So everybody, that was my Would You Rather historical mystery edition. I had a lot of fun making this video today. Historical mysteries are some of my absolute favorite books, and this was just a really fun video for me to film. I hope you enjoyed it too. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. My social media links are down below if you want to follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, or be my friend on Goodreads. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a delightful rest of your day. Bye, and I'll see you in the next video.